Welcome, I'm Doug, and this is Dying to Retire, a podcast on retirement and then some. If you've been here before, you may have noticed things look a little different. I've been running this show as an audio companion to my YouTube channel, so I have the same content, just the audio. Now that's changing going forward. The old YouTube audio versions are coming down, but what stays is everything I made original for this channel. I'll still be covering my retirement, the house being built in Guatemala, the residency process and all. That's still over there on YouTube on Dying to Retire podcast. If you must go over there to see the face that's made for radio. So just go over there. There will be some crossover, but if you want the full experience, unfiltered and explicit, this is where it lives. All right, let's get started. Normally, I start the episodes talking about what's the progress of the house in Guatemala. And today's going to be a little bit different. The reason why is for about 2 weeks, the house currently here in Maryland, we had a main drain issue. So they had to tear up, the plumbers had to come in and tear up the basement to get to the old pipe. It is a 75-year-old house, so the pipe had gone bad, degraded over time. But they also had to tear up the front yard. And that's still going on right now. And apologies, I'm testing out new mics, so hopefully this one comes out fine. So everything is torn up. And the wife and I are waiting for them to start filling back in the ditch that's in our front yard that's torn everything up. Also, the basement, they've patched over where they had jackhammered all the concrete up, put in the new piping and everything. We got extremely lucky into the part, not about the cost, because this is super expensive. We got extremely lucky because I use the bathroom downstairs because it's larger and I get up earlier and I probably make a lot of noise. I turn on the radio or listen to podcasts while I'm taking a shower in the morning. So everything took the shower, came out and noticed one of the drains, dark water was coming up. And so with the dark water coming up and everything, that wasn't right. I knew right away that was sewer water or what we call black water, dark water. And it also had an odor to it. So I immediately grabbed the wet vac, we have it downstairs in the basement as well. And I was able to get to it before it started flooding. So that we were lucky there. Other than it was a whole lot of using the wet vac to get the sewage water out of there. First, we thought it was a drain that had backed up. The plumbers came out, snaked the drain, but the water still kept backing up. So we did that after they ran the video. And it's pretty cool how they can run the video cameras through everything. So you can see where the backup was. There's a backflow diverter, backflow preventer valve, whatever you call it. Plumbing is not my lingo. That had gone bad. Again, 75-year-old plumbing. That had gone bad. And then they started noticing all these bellies and everything in the plumbing going out there. So I know a lot of y'all out there understand plumbing a whole lot more than I do. I do limited plumbing, small things in my house. I'm not a licensed plumber, anything on that. My brother is, but he just recently retired in May and he lives, 800 miles away. So there's no way he could help. But the plumbers notice it all. So it's all got to be done. Part of it hopefully should be covered under our homeowners policies, still working with State Farm on that one. Haven't heard shit really for it other than please upload everything. No one has came out, but I digress there. So we're waiting for that, waiting for the inspector to come in to say, hey, everything's good to go, where they can start filling in the back. So it's really insane. So I'd love to be talking about the house in Guatemala. What's the status? I am doing a cheat code. And what I mean by the cheat code is I'm going to be going down in July, the second week or first week of July or second week of July, go down there, finish signing all the paperwork because the house is paid for. I just need to finish doing all the paperwork. I'm going to put my wife's DPI on the ownership as well on that. So that way, if anything ever happened to me, the house automatically defaults to her. So I want to get that all done. So remind me later, guys, I need to scan her DPI and send that down to the folks down there in Guatemala, the lawyer and the real estate person. Want to do that. But like I said, the cheat code I'm doing is I'm going to have someone help me get the furnishing. Yes, it will cost a small fee, but I need to get the first phase of furnishing of the house done in Guatemala. And then I'm talking like the basic bedroom stuff, a bed, Master bedroom's going to have a king size bed. It's the first time I ever had a king size bed. The largest I've ever had was a queen, other than at a hotel with a king staying on it. It's a lot of real estate, but that's how the house is built. It's designed for it. The two other bedrooms will have queen size beds for guests and family members when they come in. But getting back to here in Maryland, so I'm waiting for all this to get done. The inspectors are, excuse me, the inspectors should be here anytime soon. They give a window, the same window your cable company gives you. We'll be here between 8 and 12. And they can be late, but if you're running 5 minutes behind, they're not going to wait and they're going to take off. What's kind of funny, the first inspector that was here, and I'm going to say right now from WSSC, the water company here and does the wastewater and water coming in Maryland, he inspects the work. And I know I'm running long. The company doing the plumbing, they covered the plumbing, covered what they did downstairs, put the concrete back on it, over it, where my wife and I could have a basement a little bit. We're still cleaning out all the dust because that's where I normally have all my radio stuff. It's all down there. I cleaned up most of the dust, but they covered it there where we could get on with our lives. The inspector was not happy with that. But what set the tone, I'm sitting outside with one of the folks, the project manager for the work being done, waiting for the inspector to show up the other day. He does show up, rolls in there, gets out of his car, and he's got an air about him, an asshole air. And the guy comes in and looks at me and goes, "What are you, one of the salesmen?" I'm like looking at this dude. I'm like, "No, I'm not one of the salesmen. I'm the fucking homeowner." And I didn't say it like that, but my brain's saying it now. And he just got really freaking defensive and became an asshole. And then became a total asshole. Because the guy was, "Well, we covered it. We usually run film, send you guys the film, you review it, but then you check the outside." The guy was on an absolute power trip. The reason why I know they do the filming and stuff on that is I had another project manager here the other day because there's been some snafus getting the inspector out here. One guy showed up. The plumbers weren't here. They also sent another plumber or manager to be out here to run the video for them. They sent him to the wrong address, the plumbing company. So it's been a multitude of errors and it's grating on our nerves. So that's what we've been doing there, just waiting here for the freaking inspector. So I'm sitting here. So if you hear me and hear the frustration in my voice, that's where that's coming from. So we're just waiting for that. All right, let's change gears here a bit. This part of the show, I like to talk about a YouTube video I did. Yes, part of it's to drive traffic over to the YouTube channel, but the other one is to talk to you guys here about something I did on YouTube because I think it is valuable to share here. In this episode, I want to talk about it's a thing called get off the X. And it is a mentality of getting out of problem areas when there's trouble, danger ahead, and everything like that. And it is a mindset that I think every traveler, tourist, expat, slow traveler, whatever you want to freaking call yourself, should actually have and embrace. And I'm going to break it down. It's really simple. There's 3 things to get off the X. However, each one, takes a little mindset. The easiest one to do, but has the hardest or most amount of pre-work is the first part, and it's called avoid. Avoid it. AVOID. Almost couldn't spell it. Avoid. And avoid is really simple. If you know there's a bad area of town, don't go there. Sorry, I can't even speak English right now. Don't go there. If you know there's a protest that's going to be happening at an intersection of this street and that street, don't go there. If you know this part of the country is having tornado, hurricane, bad rainstorms, mudslides, don't fucking go there. Avoid is the easiest one to do, but takes the most work ahead of time. Avoid means you, excuse me, still got the dust because I'm waiting for the inspector here, right? Plumber sitting out front. Sorry to digress there. So avoid is the easiest one to do, or actually the hardest one to do, but it's the easiest one to put in play. It requires you to be aware of the surroundings and where you're at. If you're traveling, this means you should be looking at the State Department's website about the country that you're in. Now, the State Department is sometimes chicken little. They are scared of everything. Most diplomats are. Oh my God, people are shooting us. What are we going to do? Run. It's really easy. So look at those things. Also go to the Facebook groups for the country that you're traveling in. A lot of times they put out warnings. They say there's going to be an indigenous protest. And I'm using Latin America, Central America for this. They'll put out warnings that there are protests going on. Don't go to that area. Or police have a heavy presence in an area because there's gang activity. Good. Avoid that shit. Go around. Avoid it completely. Don't even try to go there. It's kind of cool. A lot of people want to do this thing called the chicken buses. This dust is killing me. Want to do this chicken buses thing in Guatemala and Salvador. And a lot of the petty theft, stick ups and robberies happen on chicken buses because they'll stop them. You have nowhere to go. You're just in the seat. You can't run and hide. And the crooks come on and take your money. Get on the bus. You're defenseless. Because I forgot to add, when we're traveling, especially as old guys, and I don't care how much military you've had, how much Krav Maga or anything else you've done, the only thing you're doing as a tourist or as an expat retiree, you're packing a few extra pounds. You ain't packing a pistol. So you need to be mindful of that. Oh, this dust is really bad right now. So you got to keep that in mind. So you don't want to get stuck in this. The next part I want to talk about is called evade. 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 Evade is the next easiest thing to do. You're driving down the road. You see the bridge is out in front of you. Okay, don't go that way. That's the easiest way to think about it. You're going down a road and it looks like a protest is happening at that intersection. Okay, evade it. Go around that shit and give yourself a wide berth when you're doing it. It's really simple. And I'm going to throw this little rule in there about evading. If you see a protest, a riot, or whatever you want to freaking call it going on, let's say at an intersection or a part of town, and it's only limited to one block, take 2 to 3 blocks to go around it, if not a little bit further, because shit like this is very fluid. It can move any direction rapidly. There's always well, not always, but many times things blow up in the other area. Like I hate to call it like a secondary explosion, but a riot or protest can have a secondary area that flashes up, like a flash mob, almost call it flash dance, that can pop up. So that's why you're supposed to give yourself a very wide berth when you're evading. So it's really simple to do. Don't try to be a hero. A lot of times, I'm not saying smack your wife, but a lot of times the wives are like, oh, let's go take a look at it. No, don't. Just get up and go. It's the simplest thing. You're not a coward. You're not yellow. You're nothing like that. You're just being smart. Even the smartest guy will tell you, just go around. The last thing is called get off the X. And get off the X is actually the easiest one. Hardest to do, easiest one. Because the only objective in get off the X is get off the X. The problem area that I'm calling the X could be like a meter square, or it could be a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, right? X, the size of X squared, it changes all the time. It could be squared, could be, times itself, whatever. It's all relative. This depends on the situation, what's going on. If you're driving up to an intersection and a mob starts or a riot starts or a protest starts right there, you had no other option. You didn't see it there. It just suddenly popped up. Your job is get the fuck out of there. If you're by yourself, go. Just move. Don't worry about everyone else. That local over there, or the local woman over there, or stuff like that. I don't care about humanity. Go. You have that responsibility to yourself. But always make sure you take your wallet, your passport, money, your phone. But the other stuff, if you have luggage in the car, your clothes and stuff like that, fuck it, leave it. Just go. If you got a laptop in there, leave it, unless it's already in your backpack, your go bag when you're going. But take the essentials, your wallet, your phone, cash, passport, maybe a couple other things with you, food, and haul ass. It's that simple. If you're with a family member, grab them, usher them, because you only can go as fast as the slowest one. And I hate them. One of the biggest things, oh God, I hate these movies. That's why a lot of, Tom Cruise, The Invader from Mars, whatever that thing is, he had with the Martians were coming and they were taking over the planet Earth, and he had his daughter with him. And his daughter was screaming at everything, even giving away their position. Oh God, that drove me. So you just want to slap the shit out of the kid. The actress was doing a good job because she pissed me off. It's like, oh, she needs to die. I watched a movie recently that a actress playing a really bad deputy like that. She needed to die, and she did. The character did. It was a happy moment in the film. So I'm not sure you guys ever do that. You see a character on a film that you know you're trying to bug out, get out of the area, and the person's being so bad, you're just like, that person needs to die. And yeah, there's a couple films like that. So that's the X, in a nutshell. You got to get off it. You got to run. You got to get out of there. Take your family members with them. The same thing. Passport, wallet, phone, anything like that, and go to a safe spot. Because if you had to abandon the taxi cab, your car, anything like that, you want to go to a safe spot. The police stations, if they're not co-opted, hospitals, again, if they're not co-opted, if you can get to a U.S. embassy or a consulate, haul ass, get there. That's why you need your passport where you can get in, because they will eventually let you in, especially if some shit's going on. And they should be able to help you, but they're not going to be able to help you like you see in the movies. They don't come out like that, not normally. So that's the simple thing I'm talking about when I say get off the X. If you want to know more on it, go to my YouTube channel, Dying to Retire Podcast on YouTube. I do a whole episode on it. It's about 15 minutes. I have some low, my crappy little graphics in there, but I kind of show you what I mean in there when I'm talking about going down a street, how to avoid it, evade it, uh, all that stuff from avoid, evade, get off the X. So take a look at that. It's on my YouTube channel, but always remember when you're traveling, be you a tourist, an expat, or a slow traveler, you should always have get off the X mindset. Next, I want to talk about something, how it deals with retirement, but there's a lag time, but it's coming to the United States. Not sure how many of you guys, and I know this podcast is focusing on retirement and also becoming an expat, but I've been watching the stuff on the news and it's been a little shady and scary what's going on. And when I'm talking about in the news, I'm going to talk about a little bit about Northern Ireland, because I do have a wee bit of Irish in me, though Irish descent. I'm an American, born and raised in America. I wouldn't know anywhere in Ireland, Northern or South, or Republic of Ireland, where to go. But I do have family members still there, distant cousins, and that's where on my father's side really comes from. But what's really interesting is watching the troubles, and it's the new troubles going in Ireland. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's multifold, because it does affect retirement, because what you're seeing going on in Europe and Ireland and England, because UK right now has bent the knee to Islam, and you can hate me or love me, I don't give a shit. But yeah, UK has bent the knee to Islam, and Northern Ireland is part of the UK. And what's going on there, because the riots and the people are getting mad. But it's happening in the United States too. We're just a lot bigger country, so the effect takes a little bit. There's a lag time for how the effect's going to affect regular Americans, and it is. Because they're looking at, 2032 to reduce our Social Security benefits. Why? Because they say the money is not there anymore. For all the 40, 50 years we've been putting money in, we're supposed to be getting so much money out, not even equivalent what we put in. But while others, and this is what they're showing in Ireland, in addition to the people wanting to cut their other people's heads off and stuff, and the violence being done by the immigrant community, and by bringing in a culture that is alien to a Christian nation, a European nation, the native population is a white population there, bringing all these other people who are demanding that the native population change for them. You can go to Africa and they're not going to be doing there. You can go to an Islamic country, they're not going to allow you to change them. They're not going to allow you to build churches and stuff, but they're demanding it in Ireland. And this to me is kind of funny, because now they have reports. The rape report just came out. The rape gang report just came out in England. 250,000 Irish kids, girls were raped and abused. The Irish government allowed it to happen. The English government, UK government allowed it to happen and tried to sweep it under the floor. Then they're looking at all the public housing that's being given to the people who are disadvantaged. They don't want to release the numbers because they know the people will be upset, because while Irish people are out on the streets, don't have safe homes to live in. They're bringing in an immigrant community to actually be there. Now, you can get mad and say, Doug, well, aren't you getting your residency? You got your residency in another country. Yes, but had I verified that I'm not going to be living off the public dole. I bought my own house. I didn't have the government buying for it. I'm not going to be taking a job from a Guatemalan because a lot of other freaking countries have protections for their native population that allows the money to stay in a microeconomy. They may not be growing in leaps and bounds like the United States does or some other countries do, but just as much as we go up, we go down. Those countries are pretty steady across the board. Some things are more expensive, others are not, but the cost of living is less than the United States, but they get less money than the US. When you fuck around with this shit like you're seeing in the UK and stuff and what's going on in America, you're going to have problems. You're going to have the native population getting mad. And it's, in my opinion, done on purpose. So we're watching that on the news and I'm seeing what's going on. And again, do they need a revolution? Don't know. Hopefully they can do what they call the rainbow or the flower revolutions and quietly change things. Forcefully remove those who did not want to assimilate to the Irish culture or who demanded their culture take precedence over the Irish culture, just like everything. Because if I go to Guatemala, when I'm down there, I'm not demanding the Guatemalans go my way, become me. That's not how you do it when you go to another culture or another land. But that's what's going on in Ireland, and that's what's going on in the United States. And we have Congress and we have elected politicians at the local, state, and federal level all doing this. The reason, sorry, the dust is still killing me. The reason why this is so important is when I talked about the 2032 and our Social Security going down, and they're saying they're going to have to cut it by 30%. You look at everything they talked about, how what they want to cut or reduce Social Security payments. They're still talking about raising the age too. But one of the funniest things, and you look at the reports that all these fucking geniuses came out, not a single one of them talk about addressing the fraud, waste, and abuse being done to the Social Security system. They don't talk about it at all. They don't talk about removing the people who are getting, and their children who are getting lifelong benefits, but never fucking paid into a system. This needs to stop. Ireland has the same thing. They're giving all them, in the UK too, giving all the money to these people who came in who never paid into the fucking system. Or they're giving them more than what they paid into. So they may have been there for a year, but they're giving them like they had been there 20, 40 years worth of benefits. There is a difference. That's why, again, every country has to have some form of protectionism, especially like this. Again, it's an alien culture in an area that it doesn't fit, doesn't belong. So that's just my 2 cents. Welcome yours. Again, shoot me a note, dyingtoretirepodcast@gmail.com. Be respectful, be nice, but I'd love to hear your opinion on all this. For this week's Just a Boomer Bitching, I want to take you guys to what I found on X, and it was kind of interesting. And what it was an individual, I believe this is a early Zoomer or late millennial who was bitching about how they got two degrees out of junior college, two-year degrees. One's like an electrical and the other one is automotive or automotive repair. And again, degrees at a junior college, but not certifications, not like a ACA or ASE, whatever they call it, certification for working on cars, or not even one for being an electrician. And the person's bitching and moaning that they can't get any jobs. And the only jobs that one of his degrees, he was talking about the car one, is where he will be changing oil for the rest of his life. And it just gives him all the blue collar opportunities. And a lot of people jumped in, even people who are doing white collar jobs jumped in and were telling him, dude, mechanics, plumbers, etc., electricians often make just as much or more money than many white collar people, and actually white collar jobs, not white collar people, white collar jobs, and then have less debt because they aren't paying for all the student loans, $100,000, $200,000 in fucking student loans. And this person is bitching and moaning. So I was reading the post and I wrote into it and I was trying to be polite, and this is what I wrote. In all honesty and no malice, what work and or career did you think or people told you those associate degrees would open up for you? And the person responded with a short note. And he goes, "None. I did it out of hopes I can find better employment opportunities in an economy with a 4 plus unemployment rate. There are no jobs hiring." Well, partially right. The economy sucks. And I think part of it is we've outsourced too much. We've brought in foreign workers too much. We've had way too much illegal immigration that takes the entry level jobs, the lower level jobs. It forces out a lot of people out of the trades. And that happens. Totally against those things. Yep. You're batting up against it. But at the same time, for the past 40, 50 years, that's been going on as well. So you can yell at the boomers and everything's on that end because this is just a boomer bitching section, segment of my podcast. You can yell it, but we all been through it. It's been 40 fucking years. We all went through it. I was a 20-year-old going into it. Same shit. Maybe not as open or as large as it is now, but we all had it. Sorry. Still dust from the construction downstairs or the tearing up the concrete. Dust is still all over the air. I don't care how many freaking air filters I can have. The dust is still in the air. It hasn't got it all. But this person's bitching and moaning on it. In another post, people were engaged with this individual. Actually, being nice until he became a total dick, in my opinion. He was complaining about he doesn't want to move from the small town. He likes the small town environment. Okay, dude, you're in a small town. There's only going to be so much fucking work you're going to get. So you're complaining you can't get a better job. You're complaining you're not going to be making the high six figure salary doing it stuff, but you're in small town America. No one is doing it except for the people who own the town and run the majority of the businesses. And that's because they're diversified and everything. And a lot of times in small town, you think the person who makes a lot of money running that business, they actually are not making as much money as you think. And most of their stuff is tied up into that company that they're trying to keep running that everyone else is employed with. But I digress in there. Again, this individual is bitching, moaning, didn't want to leave. Can't think of why this person thought getting 2 degrees that had no certifications behind them would suddenly be a windfall for them. Like I said, this is just insane. So yeah, the trades can make more money than blue collar. Blue collar trades often can make more money than white collar jobs. Also come with less debt because they don't have the college education all behind it, the student loans that all these people have. This person did not want to hear it, did not want to move, didn't want to do anything. So what are your thoughts? What do you tell the younger generation when they come across with this type of shit? When I was 18 and I graduated from high school, I saw the opportunity. There was not a lot of opportunities where I was at. I joined the military. I got out. This guy is perfectly capable of doing that shit, barring don't know if he has any handicaps or anything like that. But there's the opportunity to get him out. How many kids that I knew that I was in boot camp with or met through my time in the fleet, in the Marine Corps, with the young men, and there were women too, but I'm focusing on the men, that got out of small town America because they knew there were no opportunities. So they knew this is what they're going to have to do to get them out of the area. The government would pay for them to get a trade or something. And this is before, trust me, this is before when we got trained, there was no, we're going to give you certifications you can take out in the real world when you get out of the military. This is before the military fucking did that. They do that now, but this was before. And then I'm looking at this kid. He's not willing to do this stuff. And I have to laugh. My wife and I, when we first started dating over 30 years ago, we both worked more than 2 jobs. We had full-time jobs and part-time jobs. And this person's bitching and moaning. This person, and I knew he was full of shit after a while because he started complaining about, I have a 50-year mortgage. Well, that's bullshit because no one's doing 50-year mortgages right now. So you're lying through your fucking teeth. So that's what's going on. So again, tell me, you guys, at dying to retire podcast, gmail.com. How do you handle these young kids, the millennials and Zoomers, pulling this shit? Yeah, it's bad for them. It's always been bad. It's never great. And we always look at the generation before us and always think the generation before us had it better because they all did in a way. But the kids nowadays are lazy. They're not wanting to work. The entitlement on this person, and I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to end it here, end this segment here. There used to be a commercial on TV, on radio, and I think they did a TV spot. And it was basically a guy went to a ball game and finds out they double sold him a seat, right? So his season seat that he was supposed to be in, they sold it to someone else. But the ballpark felt so bad for this dude, they gave him a ticket into the executive booth. I forget what they call them up there because I've never been on the executive booth, right? So he goes up there, sits there, watches the ball game, and it's great. Then a beautiful young lady sits next to him, and they hit it off, and they realize they're soulmates. And then they find out she is a princess from a country, and she's a billionaire, and he lives happily ever fucking after. That's how these kids are looking at work nowadays. That's how these kids are looking at romance nowadays. It's not fucking real life. But they want everything, in my opinion, they want everything handed to them. How are we going to survive doing that? How are these kids going to survive doing that? Welcome your thoughts on that, on this segment of Just a Boomer Bitchin'. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, you can reach me at dyingtoretirepodcast@gmail.com. As always, I'm Doug. This is Dying to Retire, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.